Hey there, folks. Welcome to another OUInsider Post-Practice Blitz. I'm wearing the cutoff today because it is fall camp season, and I felt it's appropriate because it's really freaking hot outside. My pump is gone from the gym this morning, so I don't look nearly as buff as I did circa 8 a.m. today. But regardless, that's not what this is about. What this is about, folks, is bringing you a closer look onto the practice field for the University of Oklahoma. And we didn't get much of one today, Brandon. It was a 20-minute window. About half of that was guys stretching. So mostly just to get a visual reference of, oh, okay, he looks like that. He looks like that. Oh, Devon Mitchell looks like he trimmed off 5 or 10 pounds. Today was mostly about that type of thing for us, but awesome first opportunity to get out and see what
Mhm.
this football team looks like to the naked eye.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there wasn't anything really. I mean, we appreciate any viewing we can get, Brent. So we thank you for that. Um, we would like it to be longer. During the spring we get an hour and 45 here, an hour and a half there, 45 or an hour there. Like we get substantial viewings. Fall camp, I understand it, but I wish that they would tailor it to where like the first 2 weeks you get a couple of extended views. While they're not really, I understand that they're doing some prep for the games upcoming, but that's usually delegated to the 2 weeks prior. Once school starts, they really start getting into game day prep and stuff like that. And I wish before that they would allow us to get some, and maybe they will. Maybe Brent will catch a itch of some generosity coming down the road where we might get some of that. But be that as it may, we got what we got, and I have to say it was a little bit and not really a lot of viewing, but what we saw, I mean, Danny Okoye, I think first and foremost to me was holy crap. Like he looks fantastic. I think he's like 250, 255-ish. I thought Gentry Williams looks fantastic right now.
Yeah.
We got to talk to him afterwards. I thought, trying to think, PJ Adebawara looks just phenomenal. I mean, the added weight, he looks thicker and bigger. David Stone, Jaden Jackson, obviously Dominic Williams, finally getting to see him in a football uniform at Oklahoma in person. You get those eyes. I thought the offensive line, Jake Sexton, looked like he trimmed down some weight, but at the same time put on weight, if that makes sense. Like, but it was like good weight. And so he looked really good. I just, there was it is what it is. I'm trying to think of some other guys. Kip Lewis, obviously, whoa. 225 pounds on him looks ridiculous because he was thin, Parker. Like he was a thin guy there for a bit playing Will Backer. So Jacoby Johnson looks really good. I mean, there's a plethora of guys that you can tell put in a lot of really good work this offseason. And I guess it was good to be able to see that in person, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah. And we also got to catch up with 4 members of the team after practice concluded. We talked to Gentry Williams. We talked to Jacob Sexton. We got to talk to Barnes, and of course, QB1 made a cameo, and we had a good
Mm.
extensive conversation with Jackson Arnold as well. I love the way that Jackson deals with the media. Like, and it's not even like he's the most eloquent guy or the most wordy guy or the guy with the best sense of humor. Like you can throw out all the superlatives you want. A guy like Walter Rouse last year comes to mind where he just
Mm.
had the absolute best demeanor. And what I love about Jackson Arnold though is how concise he is with every single question that he answers. He's direct. No matter what you ask him, he'll give you an honest answer as he can give it to you. And he'll give it to you in 15, 20 seconds where it feels like you got a substantial soundbite out of it, but
Yeah.
you didn't uh, necessarily he didn't pontificate. That's the word I was looking for. Didn't pontificate. So I mean, we talked to him for 10 minutes. In that span of time, you can fit in 20, 25 questions to a guy like
Mhm.
Jackson Arnold. Absolute pro. Always love getting to chat with him in an interview setting. And he's really, really high on this wide receiver room, Brandon, as you might expect. He's also really, really high on Taylor Tatum. And what I thought was
Mhm.
interesting was he specifically mentioned Tatum's pass catching ability as
Yep.
something that will play in this offense right away.
I think Taylor adds a unique passing element to our game, whether you can line up in the empty or do whatever, put him in the passing game. He's very versatile, and he's definitely going to be a good option for us this year.
He talked about, and something, if you're on OU Insider VIP, something we talked about in our VIP notes the other day. He's a Swiss Army knife. I guess that's the best way to put it, right? He's a Swiss Army knife, and the guy can line up in the slot. You can put him in motion. You can do a lot of things with him, and so much like I think the last guy Oklahoma had that was able to do that was Joe Mixon, probably, right? That could really like legit line up. Yeah, Gavin Sawchuk can. I don't want to take away from Gavin because I think he's good at it. But at the level that we're expecting, I think Joe Mixon was the last guy that you're like, okay, when he lines up in the slot,
He's an actual receiver and not
he's
a
an
running
actual
back
receiver.
receiver.
Exactly. Yeah. And so that's kind of what we gathered and with that. We gathered with that with what Jackson Arnold said. I thought that it makes sense. You saw in high school Taylor Tatum. So if Oklahoma doesn't use him at all like that this season, if he's good enough to get on the field, I think they're missing the boat, bro. I just do.
Yeah. Other thing that Jackson Arnold mentioned, and look, the starting quarterback is going to express confidence in anybody he's asked about to an extent. But the vibe continues to be, Brandon, that this offensive line isn't getting their due nationally. Not to say that they're going to go and win the Joe Moore Award, not to say that they're going to dominate the trenches every single game they play, but I think the national perception of Oklahoma's offensive line is that it's going to be a liability for the Sooners in 2024. Internally, that does not seem to be the belief.
Now, I feel like the guys that we've brought in from either the transfer portal or the 2024 class are really competitive. Big guys can get after it. Got after us today in practice. Guys like that are going to be a big difference for us, and guys that we've had and we've developed are going to be a big difference for us this year.
Brent Venables said it Saturday. Jake Sexton said it today. They really believe how close-knit they are. They feel like they at least have 7 or 8 really solid pieces that once Bill Bedenbaugh moves them around and finds out where he feels they fit within their confines of their offense, they think they're going to be really good. I mean, Sexton even talked about why they're so close and why they feel so good. They're always with each other off the field. They're hanging out. They're going watching UFC fights over at each other's homes. He says, as obviously, offensive line likes to eat, and they always have a big platter of food everywhere they're at, hanging out, just I guess communing together. And I think that goes a long way on the field. If you can be with somebody off the field and communicate with them off the field, the chances are you're going to be able to communicate with them 10 times better on the field. And I think this offensive line's done a really good job building that relationship aspect of it up. Now they've got to build it and find the best 5. And I think that's where they're at. But whoever the best 5 is, like, I know we got to see it, but are you as worried as nationally?
No. And my standpoint on this, or I should say my perspective on this, has always been I trust Bill Bedenbaugh.
Yeah.
I don't really care what the lineup looks like. I don't really care how experienced these guys are. I'm going to trust that Bill Bedenbaugh is going to have a half-decent offensive line every single year. Now, I think Jackson Arnold made a really good point earlier when we talked to him, and he said, look, the guys that we brought in via the transfer portal on that offensive line have played a ton of football. It's not new to them. And, some of them are going to be Tyler Guyton, where I shouldn't say some. A select.
Some are going to be first-round picks.
No. I don't want to establish that expectation, even if only jokingly. But some of them are going to make a big impact. Some of them have legit NFL draft prospects. Okay, Walter Rouse, there's an example. Like some guys are Walter Rouse, where they entrench themselves in a Sooner lore, blocking 2 dudes on the edge against Texas on the game-winning touchdown pass. Like, some dudes are going to have memorable careers, and some dudes might have quieter careers, like a Chris Murray from a couple years ago, where you bring him in and he's a consistent starter for 2 seasons. Nobody would accuse him of being elite, but he's getting the job done for you in the trenches. And that's That's all Oklahoma needs. That's all Bill Bedenbaugh needs. He just needs you to get the job done. Chris Murray was what, 6', 6'1"? And so he doesn't necessarily need the most freakish athletes. He doesn't necessarily need the 6'6", 6'7" type dudes, the dudes that can win tug of war against anybody in the building. No, you give
Jake
Bill
Sextons of the
Bedenbaugh.
world.
Yeah, no. Yeah, but for every Jake Sexton, you can have a guy like a Branson Hickman, for instance, who again
Yeah.
comes in with 30+ starts. I don't think anybody serious questions the caliber of football player that he is, but 6'2", 300 pounds, very modest, very average size for an offensive lineman, but he just gets it. He's intelligent, he's technically proficient, and he's not going to be overwhelmed by whatever you throw at him.
Do you buy the buzz that Josh Bates can beat out Branson Hickman?
No.
I kind of do. I don't know why, but I kind of. Do we forget that Josh Bates was the best center in all of high school football at one point?
I don't think so, but the way I look at it, you knew Josh Bates was there in the spring.
No, that's fair. That's a very
you didn't
valid
have
point.
to bring in Branson Hickman. I think you brought Branson Hickman in with the expectation that this guy is our starting center in 2024.
True.
That's a hell of a fall camp for Josh Bates if he beats out Branson Hickman.
Facts. But we've heard he's had a really good start to fall camp. So I think if he keeps it up, I think at the very least, you feel really good about center 2, right? I think we both expect Branson Hickman's going to be the starter. I think without question. But once Troy Everett comes back, now what do you do? What do you do if he decides he doesn't want a medical hardship or red shirt or whatever? He can obviously play guard. Everett's good at guard. We've seen it. We don't know what Josh Bates is as a guard because we've never seen it. Always seen him as a center. He's been a center in high school. But you now have some pretty freaking good options at center. You went from Branson Hickman to having from what it sounds like, a decent to good Josh Bates backing him up. And then you bring in Troy Everett, who is damn good at center. We saw it last year. So I think they're in a good spot right now, just with the offensive line in general. And we've heard that from everybody we've talked to. You got to talk to Javonte Barnes. I did not. We'll talk about Gentry Williams here in a minute, but I want to hear your thoughts on Javonte Barnes because Javonte Barnes has had some buzz. He's getting reps with Gavin Sawchuk. Gavin Sawchuk's going to be the guy. He's going to be the guy. But you need the yin to the yang, right? Like you need the thunder to the lightning.
I think, it'll be interesting to see who that is, who is the main change of pace for Gavin Sawchuk. It could be Javonte Barnes, could be Caleb Hicks, who is getting second team reps today. Could absolutely be Taylor Tatum if he continues to come on strong. This is where I will point people to OUInsider.com because Jesse Crittenden, our fine beat writer, had an excellent article that he churned out just a couple of hours ago on Javonte Barnes and the conversation that we got to have with him after practice. That article is completely free. You can read that for free. We do a lot of coverage for free at OUInsider.com. The way we see it, yes, there is some stuff on the intel side that we feel warrants the investment of a couple dollars a month into a subscription. But there's also a ton of stuff that we give you for free. It's our gift to you. So with that said, want to remind all of the college students out there that as the semester gets started, we've made it super easy for you to get on board with OU Insider if you're on a budget. And I know how tight the budget can be if you're a college student. You email us at OUinsider@rivals.com. That's the email, OUinsider@rivals.com. From your email account that ends in edu. Any university-associated email account does not even have to be OU. If you go to Langston or Oklahoma State or O-Trip, anywhere in the contiguous United States and beyond.
Oklahoma State, lots of them have signed up too. There's a lot of OU fans.
Really?
Yes.
How about that? Pulling folks from Poke territory. I love it. You email us at OUinsider@rivals.com. We will get you a promo code that you can use to sign up. You will pay $11.95 once. That's all. $11.95 once. And you will get full access to OU Insider for an entire year.
Yep.
That's the deal that we made to all of you college students as you go back to school. We'd love to have all of you on board at OUInsider.com, college student or not. You can jump on board even if you're not a college student, just a regular human being, an average Joe, if you will, or a not so average Joe. But regardless of who you are, your background, where you live, we love bringing OU fans together via the interwebs, and we do so at OUInsider.com, where you can jump on board anytime for $8 and change every single month. We'll give you unparalleled coverage of OU football, OU recruiting, OU basketball, OU softball. You're a Sooner fan, trust me, it's the place to be. The observations from practice will continue to roll throughout the week. We're going to release an episode of the OU Insider Under the Visor podcast on Wednesday, and there is much more content to come. That's all for this installment of the OU Insider Post-Practice Blitz. For Brandon Drum, I'm Parker Thune. We'll catch you guys next time.